A few years ago on Twitter, there was a debate. Could 2 plus 2 equal 5? And it wasn't just crackpots defending that 2 plus 2 could equal 5, but mathematicians from really well known universities. And they were mostly on the woke left. Now, Orwell picked up on this simple equation. He picked up on the fact that if 2 plus 2 equals 4, if you could say that and say that confidently, you're establishing objective reality. And from that, you could build a civilization. That there is some ground truth to something, that 2 plus 2 equals 4. If you reject 2 plus 2 equals 4, and you say 2 plus 2 equals 5, from that, if you can get people to believe that, if you can warp their subjective experience of reality so much, you can get them to do anything, believe anything. You can make them killers. You can make them genocidaires. Now, why is that? Well, you can think about it like this, and it kind of touches upon Kant, if you know Kant's philosophy, that you could say 2 plus 2 equals 4 exists in some idealistic way outside of the universe. 2 plus 2 equals 4 is sort of a metaphysical thing that transcends space and time. You could also put in that category, even though it's not a math equation, and this is what they think they found during the Enlightenment, that the individual is paramount, that you have inalienable rights, that they exist, those rights exist outside of time and space almost. They exist there, and as time and space comes into being, we can access those things the way we can access 2 plus 2 equals 4, or numbers. So if you reject 2 plus 2 equals 4, then why can't you reject freedom of speech? Why can't you reject the idea that the individual is paramount? Why can't you replace that with something like your skin color is most important? Racial consciousness is more important than merit. So when you reject 2 plus 2 equals 4, it's not some quirky, woke, progressive, whatever. You're getting to a point where you can start to reject more fundamental truths. And that's scary. You're close to saying, not all human life is valuable. People of a certain skin color, a certain religion, you can eliminate them. Now, naturally, the far right does this too. They do it in a slightly different way, but the far right can violate those universal principles as well. And if you know anything about Putin, he rejects those universal principles. If you know anything about Nazi Germany, they rejected those principles, and Maoist China rejected those principles. And they would in each of those societies. I think they would, if they had to, they'd make a case that 2 plus 2 equals 5. So when you see this kind of craziness on the woke left, you need to know where it leads. It seems like, okay, if you reject 2 plus 2 equals 5, how is that related to something like genocide? Well, it's because you can reject the humanity of others, innocent others.